I often think of flights a little bit like a royal banquet. That if you were to peek behind the curtain an hour before the embassies and the royals and all the diplomats arrive, it would be total chaos. Private aviation is opaque and complex. First, you've got to get the aircraft airworthy and battle against any defects you might have. Then there's the catering, which is, as you can imagine, intrinsic. The cabin's got to be prepared, flight plans, fuel, weight, altitude, headwinds, tailwinds, diversion. It's intense. We're flying to hundreds of random airports, quite often with 24 hours notice. I think what makes it extraordinary is you just don't know where you're going tomorrow. My name is John Matthews. I'm the chairman and the founder of AirX. I had the privilege of my stepfather taking me into hangars at a very young age and looking at these massive aircraft in the hangar and thinking, this is really interesting. My stepfather started a flying school nearby at an aerodrome. And he would fly over the grounds and I'd have a little scanner radio and I would be able to hear him. And I think if I can just get in the air, that's freedom. And so I associated, really, destiny with flying.
The stock market is now down 21%.
The NASDAQ, everything and more has been completely wiped out.
It was the worst day on Wall Street since the crash of 1987.
A lady knocked at the door and she said, I run an airline. It's losing a fortune. And I said, well, I run an airline too. I sold it off just before the financial crisis. I could run your airline for you. We started with fluorescent pink, aircraft on repossession order, 4 million of debt with a couple of weeks left of trading. And that was my starting block. And then we built it from there to the second largest in Europe. When I stop and think about growing a company from 8 million revenue a year to 180 with zero equity investment, I'm astonished that we've done it.
AirX operates a very unique business model. First of all, we buy pre-owned aircraft, and the reason for that is they cost a fraction of the capital cost of new aircraft. That allows us to be very competitive in terms of our pricing. The second part of our model, all of the aircraft types that we operate have an equivalent commercial aircraft type. These aircraft types were designed to fly many thousand hours a year. The third thing we do is we try and keep our fleet within a very tight hot zone. We operate them within a core area of UK, Europe, Middle East and North Africa. And doing that means that we have quite a high density of aircraft within an area. That minimises our positioning costs. And by having our own maintenance facility, we're able to plan and control that a lot more effectively than if we were purely reliant on third-party operators.
We need to revalue in the way that we look at success. Success must be about making the business financially sustainable. I find myself quite alone when it comes to the worry of loss in our sector. It seems to bother no one. For now. I started to look at the industry and think, crikey, how can a 2001 vintage corporate jet command the same hourly rate as a 2024 when there's a 30 million spread between the prices?
We target aircraft about 10 to 15 years old, and the reason for that is they cost a fraction of the capital cost of new aircraft. What we then do is refurbish those aircraft so that they look brand new. The clients stepping onto the aircraft have all the experience of a brand new aircraft, but at a fraction of the cost.
Every aircraft's different. So it's incredibly difficult for the client to ever get a known product. So it didn't take too long for us, after we started making serious profits, say, okay, well, if we build one standard carpet, one standard crisscross stitching on the seat, one standard headliner, we can start to offer continuity.
The brand is not just a recognition of a logo, but a recognition of an experience. And what we're trying to provide clients with is a consistent level of the highest quality offering. We think that if we can get the service offering right and the value proposition right, then clients will start pushing their brokers. Are you showing me an AirX price? If you're not, I want to see one.
And when I read the end of flight reports, I can see passengers returning. So it must be working. That means somewhere someone has said, I want AirX.
Our fleet comprises of heavy jets. They take around, say, 12, 13 passengers. The next category up would be your VIP airliner. That's your Lineage 1000s, much taller cabin height, much wider aircraft, much longer range. We also have the A340. That has 100 lie-flat seats, all in VIP configuration. It's quite different to our existing model. It complements it quite nicely because it gives us that diversity of client offering.
To make a flight happen, there has to be significant coordination behind the scenes, starting from the moment when we quote a charter price to the actual booking of the flight and the execution of the flight.
Hi, my client needs a jet from London to Dallas.
Sure, how many?
68 passengers, football team.
Got it, I'll send the quote.
Once the quote gets accepted, then it's just a matter of communicating with the client or with the broker, seeing what the client's needs are for the service, and we just make it happen. Data-led systems and technology are fundamental to running a business like AirX. When you're operating an expanding fleet across multiple regions, you need clear visibility into every aspect of the operation, such as pricing mechanisms and fleet performance.
Most aircraft operators only have a handful of aircraft in their fleet. That's one thing that gives us an immediate competitive advantage with the size and scale that we have. We have our own maintenance facility. Now that means that we have a lot more control over, first of all, costs, but most importantly, the supply chain. And for an operator, that can be very, very costly when you have an aircraft on the ground for a period of time.
Well, if we have to store them, we're failing. I always say my aircraft are based wherever they land because they won't be there long.
Ready for takeoff.
In September 2025, AirX raised a $115 million bond. That is what's going to drive the future growth of the business.
Our ambition is to grow the fleet from 20 aircraft today to around 50 aircraft over the next 5 years. This growth reflects the increase in demand as well as the confidence that we have in our business model.
But we're only just getting started. So 90% of that growth has been through our own cash flow. Now we've got the bond, we can accelerate that growth massively. You know, when I really stop and think about what could be going on today in AirX, it could be journalists to the front line to actually record what's going on in order to get the correct coverage. Are we taking data and testing equipment for COVID? Are we taking high net worth individuals on a yacht charter? Or are we taking an entire World Cup football team with 100 lie-flat seats? We are at every spectrum of life of what you see in front of you. And I think it's that spectrum that's key for people to understand. It's not just a 6-foot-something model with a handbag walking up the stairs for the classic shot. It's far deeper than that. We are into every single sector of life you can think of that needs time. Time is real money. Excuse the old-fashioned saying, but it's true. And we sell time. And it's something we don't have to waste.